I have to get this off my chest because it's it's coming down to the wire with this. In maybe 8 or 9 days' time, I'm going to be 30, and I feel like I've made terrible mistakes. Really bad mistakes. I mean, I can't believe it's taken me 10 years to figure out that what I studied in college, what I thought I was cut out for, was all wrong. You know, and the reason I went to college to study science was because I wanted to go into medicine. I wanted to be a doctor. And because I didn't do so well in my high school or secondary school exams, I needed to have a primary degree before I could apply for medical school. But once I had the primary degree, lo and behold, it turned out I still couldn't be a doctor because you have to be rich to be a doctor. You need a lot of money to study medicine. You need a lot of stability, a lot of security. Because I had worked to finance my way through my degree. And that wouldn't have been possible for medicine because it's too intense. I wanted to be a healer. I wanted to help people. My interest has always been to help people live happy, meaningful lives. That's my interest. It's what I'm good at. I'm a good listener. I understand people's inner life. I understand people's emotions. I'm very good at understanding. I'm a very accepting person. I know what crazy. I know why people feel crazy. I know why people experience emotions. I know how to understand them. I know how to interpret them. And I know what goes on inside people's minds. I know what their vulnerabilities are. And my sensitivity to all of that is what I think I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to be some kind of a healer. I'm supposed to be some kind of a counselor, someone who helps other people to cope with life. That's what I think I'm cut out for. So why didn't I do that? I didn't do it because, again, it goes back to my childhood and my adolescence. Those qualities were not valued in me. People didn't value those qualities about me, and I never had an opportunity to cultivate them as a teenager. In fact, if anything, people abused those qualities in me. They abused my sensitivities. I experienced so much trauma and abuse, neglect. And my sensitivity to all of that was it caused me to kind of suppress those things about me. And I did. 5, 6, 7 years of forcing myself through a scientific qualification that really wasn't suitable for me. And then, to add insult to injury, thinking that it would improve my chances or improve my attractiveness to employers, I went and put a computer degree on top of that, or computer qualification. I can't believe it has taken me this long to realize that all of that was in service to a false sense of who I was. I suppressed my intrinsic sensitivity. I suppressed the real me. But now I can't do that anymore. I can't deny that this is who I am. This is what I'm supposed to do. I am so sensitive to other people. I could almost tell you what they need before they could. I'm terribly sensitive to the repression that people put themselves through. That they try to force themselves into particular shapes in order to comply with some expectation that society puts on them or that their parents put on them, when they're just not suited for that thing. And I experienced that. I mean, I was never good at fucking science. I was never good at maths. What I was good at was I was good at English. I was good at understanding the emotions in drama. I was good at understanding the importance of art. But I repressed all of those qualities for maybe 12 years. 12 years. Because those qualities were used to undermine me, to abuse me, to call me weak, to call me boring, or I don't have the typical qualities of a male human being. You know, I wasn't masculine enough. I don't have those qualities. I actually don't have any of those qualities. I'm not technically minded. I'm not good at maths. I mean, I'll pass, but that's it. I'm not going to be working out calculus or complex equations or, vector spaces anytime soon. Never could, never will. I'm not going to be an engineer. I never was ever going to be an engineer. I was never going to be a top-class scientist. That was never going to happen for me. I mean, I can put things together. I'm very good at coming up with ideas. But I'm very bad at actually putting them into practice. I just can't do that. I'm terrible at following procedures. I'm a much more intuitive person. I have to feel my way into it. And you can't really apply that to the technical stuff, because technical stuff is just cogs and wires and bits of metal and bits of machinery and bits of equipment. The reason I liked biology in school was because it allowed me to understand the vulnerability of living things. And I saw it in an almost poetic way, that if I could see that, this living thing is made up of fragile components that have to grow, they're alive. That gave me an appreciation for the delicacy of all of this stuff. But it was never a technical education. It was always a metaphoric, an intuitive, a feelings-based education. Because that's what I understand. I actually understand feelings. That's what I understand. That's my talent. That's my gift. And I suppressed that for years. For years I suppressed that. Because that was what was used to abuse me, to neglect me. My vulnerability to that, my sensitivity to that is what was used against me. People took advantage of it. They saw that this was a valuable thing in me. And they used it for their own ends. I was used. They used me. They used my sensitivity. They used my emotions. They used my responsiveness to their needs, to their foibles and their quirks, and they used that against me. And I think something in me knew that. And I remember writing about this. I remember journaling about this. I said to myself, almost in these terms, you have to suppress this about yourself. I remember writing that. I remember saying to myself, you have to suppress this vulnerability. You have to harden yourself. Become cold. Become hardened against these feelings and emotions. Because other people were taking so much from me. And they weren't valuing me. They were just using me. I was just something that they could use to get their emotions fulfilled, to get their emotions validated. And so I was at war with my own gifts. And so I suppressed them. Because as long as I remained available to other people's emotions, to respond to them, to understand them, to support them, to counsel them, as long as I remained available for that, I would believe that I would be used and abused. But this is who I am. This is what I am. I am someone who helps other people in this way. These are my gifts and qualities. And they are valuable qualities. I have to find a way of helping, of using these gifts that I have. Because if I don't, I'll regret it forever. I don't want to be a validation specialist in some pharmaceutical plant. That's not what I want. It's not what I'm good at. It'll bore me to death. I won't be good at it. I won't be. I don't want to be a lab goon, taking orders from some supervisor who thinks they're the greatest gift to science since penicillin or electricity. But want to be dealing with all of these corporate egos and organizational things that have no interest to me. What interests me is how other people cope with life. That's what I'm interested in. It's literally what I want to understand. I want to study this. I want to apply myself to that. I want to help people using the gifts and qualities that I have to help them to overcome their inner confusion about their place in the world. In many ways, like what I've done. You know, it's such a pity I made that mistake. Terrible mistake. That this particular gift that I have, or quality, for listening to others and understanding others and accepting others and knowing, actually really knowing what they're going through, really knowing and understanding what's going on inside their heads. And not only having that understanding, but being genuinely interested in it. You know, other people will have a conversation with someone and it'll just be a surface level conversation. But when I have a conversation with someone, I can't just be surface level. I can't take it just as it is. I have to try and understand their perspective. It's just something that I do. It's just an automatic part of who I am. It just kind of happens. I'm deeply, deeply interested in other people's inner life. I think that I've always been this way. This has always been a part of me. Always been a deep sensitivity to other people's inner life. And that is what I am able to handle. These hands, this heart is made to handle the inner life of other people. I believe, and I know that I have the gifts to handle other people's souls, to handle other people's hearts, their vulnerability, their emotions, their thoughts, their sensitivities. That's what I'm good at. That's what I want to do. And I believe, I know that if I do anything else apart from that, that I will have wasted my life. But now I'm stuck because I don't know what to do. I do genuinely feel stuck. I feel like I've invested 6 years into qualifications that are no qualifications. At the best, I can say what I've learned is what I don't want, what I'm not good at. That's the best I can say. You know, what it has taught me a very valuable lesson of the kind of terrible mistakes that people make because of the trauma, the insecurity, and the belief that they have to change themselves in some way, that they have to suppress themselves or radically change who they are in order to be strong enough to cope with the world. You know, if I take this job as a validation specialist, it will only work out in 2 ways. Either I will be miserable and be forced to be inauthentic, to be forced to be someone I'm not, or I will merely end up seeing it as a means to an end. And that means that I will be fundamentally wasting my time. I will be using it as a means to an end. I won't be doing what I want to do. I won't be doing what I'm good at. I will be wasting the gifts that I have still wasting them if I take that job. But do I have can I go back and do something else? Can I go back and study this? Can I go back and apply for these kinds of jobs that help other people? I don't know. It feels like it's too late for me. Too late, but necessary.